So recently, Vogue had this like best dress list, right? And
Yeah.
why this really intrigues me is I'm a bit confused because I don't, when people say best dress, nowadays I don't actually know what that means. Because like, for example, like, love Alex Consani as a model, but Alex Consani being on a best dress list confuses me because Alex Consani, I don't even know what her style is. Like, I just know that she walks on loads of runways and she's in
Yeah.
loads of campaign. I don't even know if she has a style, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think neither.
So
Models
it's
in
like
general very
on this list
rarely.
they have a lot of models, and I'm confused. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
but no, these guys don't. They get dressed all the time.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
don't have a style, and these are models that I'm like a big fan of. Like even Paloma,
Yeah. Yeah. Of
like
course.
they don't really
But
have a style.
yeah. 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 I totally agree with you. I think this is. I don't know. It's when we talk about best dress, maybe it has, everything has become a little bit sterile in the sense like what does it mean? Like wearing Prada is best dressed or wearing, Dior? What like this? And there has to be something personal. Otherwise, there is no point in discussing well dressed.
Right.
If whoever has money, you buy Hermes, I mean, well dressed in what sense? Like that you're wearing good clothes? Yeah, but like, are we talking about style then? I mean, so many people can do that. Like, I mean,
Right.
I totally agree with you on this. And very often, I think we discussed that one time. Like, you see editors of the past, even stylists of the past, especially when you're a stylist. Like, how can you not be even overdressed? You should be dressed well.
Yeah.
Somebody has to see you and know that this is your profession. Like, if you see people like, Isabella Blow or so many
Oh,
other, like
100%.
Vreeland and all these people, like, I mean, it's their way of expressing themselves. How can a stylist wear a jean and a t-shirt? This I don't understand. I mean, for models still it's okay, but why you put them also on the list of to say what well dressed? It's
Yeah,
always
that confused me. And then even, for example, Ayo Edebiri, I'm a big fan of Ayo. Once again,
yes,
it doesn't I think unless like we're just giving the credit to the stylist. So I think Danielle Goldberg is Ayo Edebiri stylist. Now, the thing about Ayo Edebiri is she wasn't in like known as a fashion person, or she wasn't seen as a fashion icon until she started working with her stylist, and her stylist basically molded her
yeah.
into kind of the IOW that like I love. I love the way she dresses, and shout out to her
Hmm.
stylist. So it's like, what is that? Is that an IOW stylish award, or is that she has a good stylist award? Like, what is that?
Very often is the stylist behind that. But again, the stylist will dress her to look well, but he cannot give her her personal identity. This she has to do in a way. She has to contribute in that herself.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, she has to have an opinion. Otherwise, the stylist can up to. I think the stylist can create a persona up to a point, but then you have to be that persona too yourself. Otherwise, how he's gonna create you? You see what I'm saying? You have to be that yourself somehow. You have that kind of potential, and then the stylist will get inspired by this, and then you get inspired by the stylist, and it's like an organic thing, and you develop something. Then your stylist then is your support, but the stylist cannot make you understand what I'm saying? Is like
yeah,
Erika Badu,
yeah,
for example. Even if she has a stylist, you can tell it's her,
yeah.
it's personal. Like it's so personal. Like, but of course she might need a stylist to, tell her this is a new brand and this is a cool thing, and because she cannot know this is not her job. But then it's her. But these people are very few, that are truly creative in the way they dress. It's not a
Yeah.
common thing, I realize. It's very uncommon actually, surprisingly. Yeah.
No, it's very, very uncommon because it's almost like something I've noticed about styling these days is that it feels like when I first got into fashion, stylists are more just like really creative image makers. And like they used to create like really iconic images in collaboration with like photographers. Whereas now it feels like most of styling is really just fashion as a means to make money. So it's like, how can I find someone famous that isn't known in fashion yet? How can I use their name and then put them
Mm,
in like the buzzing clothes of today so that
yeah.
they can then be on the red carpets getting paid, and then me as a stylist I get like a certain fee? And how can I get this person brand deals so then I get my commission? So it's no longer about, I feel like stylists before used to do that, but in addition, they were all really
Yeah.
creative minds,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
used to create really, really iconic imagery. And I think there's less of that now. That's why you were saying like it seems like there's so few like really, really good stylists these days. especially once you come out of the celebrity thing and you start looking at editorial. Most editorials I see are quite terrible.
Oh, yeah. And it's so unfortunate because people that are working there are professionals that have been working for many years. Unless, because this is like creative jobs should never become like a 9 to 5, boring. Let me put some, it's like otherwise for me, it has to be like it's your personal need to express yourself. It should, it's first of all, you want to do it, regardless of the money, it's like you want to express yourself. That's why you're an artist. That's what an artist is. Somebody who, regardless of if they become famous or they get a lot of money, it's part of their being, they want to express that through clothing. That's your medium. So if you don't do that, that means what? That means that either you should stop if you're like out of creative ideas. Like some designers have stopped and they have done sculptures like, Helmut Lang, Gilles Sander. It's legitimate. You can do that. But then if you continue doing that, it's for what? Like you become, like you do just what? You dress people for whom to see, like, and also it's for who? It becomes so autistic because let's say the fashion magazines, not Vogue or Bazaar, but the smaller ones, the more like fashion oriented ones who are basically for people of the industry. They're not even for clients,
Yeah.
Like if you make styling basic there, like for whom is that? It's not for buying, like, re-edition or like self-service. All these are more fashion, like they're niche. So for who are you creating these images? Is it not to nourish the community of creatives? It's or to express yourself. First of all, actually. First of all is for that. That's your first need, should be that. Like for designers, the same. Your first need is to create something. It has to be the love that you have for that. Then why you're doing it? Like, what's the point? I think there is this movement of contemporary styling. It's like a trend where it's very nonchalant and very, like very relaxed and like, and it ends up becoming, this is not a point of view in the end, this is just nothing. Like, okay, you take something, a beautiful piece of, I don't know, Prada or whatever, and you put it. So yeah, but then it becomes a campaign.
Oh my god, that annoys me so much. And oh my god, I talk to stylists sometimes, and they talk in terms of brands, and it's really annoying. That's how I know they're not good stylists, when they're like, yeah, we're just gonna put her in a new Bottega, and it's like, why does it have to be like the big famous brand? Why can't you mix really interesting things? Why can't you make stuff? I have friends that are like Tom, Lady Gaga stylist. He can actually design, so he makes some stuff for her. So there might be like, he might be like, okay, we're gonna put you in LV, but I don't like the way that sleeve looks, let me change it slightly. And sometimes he gives the team ideas, because then he'll change it. It'll be crazy on the runway, and then the LV team's like, we actually like what you did. We might change what we're doing with that dress now. So it's just like, that's what good stylists do.
Yes.
But a lot of stylists are just like, yeah, we're just going to put her in a new Prada. And then there's also, I feel like, let's say in the 2000s, when I started to get into fashion, on the red carpet, you would have discovery on the red carpet. Whereas now it seems... Like, for example, I know that the next red carpet, we're going to see all the Dior looks will be from the latest collection, because they're trying to push the latest collection. So there's no, like, scope anymore to, like, be really creative. It's like, yeah, it just has to be a head-to-toe Dior look, but not just any Dior look. It has to be from the last collection. And there are all these, like, obligations now where everything has to be from the recent show, because that's what they're selling. And I do think it takes away it makes looks look like a lot worse.
Do you think the reason for that is that everything has become more corporate, or this is also at the same time an excuse?
No, I think everything has become more corporate, but it is an excuse, because I think
okay, there is space for creativity still, right?
Yeah. So a byproduct of everything going corporate means that the people that come into the industry have that mindset.
Yeah.
So if you're new into the industry, you come into a landscape that's corporate, you're going to think that way. So you haven't had the time to, be more creative at a time when that was just the landscape. So I think a lot of the newer stylists right now, that's why we're seeing they're so like commercial with the way that they style.
Yeah, but I mean, if there is still space for creativity, which I think there always is, if you're not a little bit disruptive and you just like put yourself by yourself already from the start in a box, like what's the point? You just put yourself from the start. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and then what are you going to? In what way are you going to contribute in the industry? Like it should be something that you look at and it moves you. It creates some kind of emotion. It shouldn't be like, yeah. I mean, it's sad if from the start, from the get go, you start putting yourself in a box. There is no space for growth at all
100%.
creatively. Yeah.
100%. Oh, awareness of clothes. This is a question for you.
I'm curious what my first memories of clothes are. Like how does she mean? Like when I was a child, or how
I think so.
memories?
They're trying to figure out how you got into styling. Like, how did your love of clothing start?
My story is so weird. Well, I would say my parents were working in not in the fashion industry, but in the clothing industry. So it made me very early, almost obsessed, not necessarily with fashion, but with quality. So this is my first memories are of the quality of clothes, because my mom would always buy very high quality, cotton, wool, and things like that. Very well stitched, very well made, because she herself was working in quality control of clothing. So wherever we go to buy, she would always turn the clothes around and see how the stitch is. So I always have these images in my head. So this is the very first memories I would say I have out of quality. And this up to today is with me always. I never buy, I never buy things of poor quality. It gives me like I cannot. And I think this registered with me very, very early on. But then the rest, I guess I don't know, I didn't have any other fashion influences in my family, but I remember very early I was watching, it was a time it was fashion TV, and I would watch the Dior shows, the Galliano Dior shows when I was like 14, and I would be
The
I would go to
shows.
the university and we have my university was not related to fashion at all. It was public health related. And I would have Vogue with me, because I was always that kind of kid that was fascinated by fashion. But quality, yeah, it taught me quality very early on. And I can recognize it, like I can see fabric from far, or I can touch it and I can very quickly
That's
categorize
very
it where it is.
important in
Yeah,
this current fashion landscape, for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now that we're talking about that, is how can you be a stylist and not understand quality of fabric or stitching or pattern cutting, not to make it yourself, but to understand if it's well cut or if it's well stitched, or, this is like, I don't know how this is even possible.
I mean, you have to understand that, because
yeah, of
if
course.
something isn't well constructed, that's how you have like wardrobe malfunctions. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
how
exactly.
did that rip? It's like, well, because look at the seams. Or like, let's say like someone is photographed from the back, and then it looks like something's a bit off, and now everyone's commenting on, oh, the dress looks off. But it's like, you should have seen that as a stylist before putting that on your client.
Yeah, exactly. And this is, of course, education. You have to train your eye, and then it becomes like a second nature. You should be able, once you see clothes, very quickly to know this is good, this is bad. Like in terms of quality per se, like even the silhouette. Like if it's a bad cut dress or piece of clothing, he is going to create very weird things on your body. That's why
Yeah.
good designers are good designers. Bad designers are bad designers also. I mean, there is a reason for that. There's a technicality that is so important. Somebody asked
100%.
something or made a comment, I don't know what it was, but something about contrast. I didn't see
Oh,
that.
she said she's curious to know what the contracts look like.
Contracts look like.
I think she's referring to, in terms of like, now that there are a lot of ambassadors. I mean, there have always been ambassadors for brands, but it wasn't so stiff. Like back then, it didn't feel like the obligations were so stiff. Like there have always been people that are affiliated with certain brands, but they still had scope to wear other things, and that's why they still came across stylish. And I think it actually helped sell the brand that they work with, because they'll show it in a nice way. But nowadays, it seems like, once you're an ambassador for like Dior, everything has to be Dior head to toe. And it's just like, it just makes for terrible looks.
Yes, it's very problematic and very limiting, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This used to be an obscure occupation, and now there's a whole industry being built around it and being institutionalized. I'm not sure something that is so dependent on taste can be formalized. 100%. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Getting so inspired. We're good to see you get inspired. That's great. That's great. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.